Hi everyone, I'm Echoes, and I'm a VTuber, and I'll be reacting and analyzing episode 7 of Gundam Witch from Mercury, Shall We Gundam. Thank you all for your patience in regards to this, as I wasn't able to review this on the usual time because I was at an anime convention this past weekend. But now I am finally able to have the opportunity to do it so please look forward to it. Anyway, let's get started. So, as you can see in the beginning of the episode, you see that the women from the Pale group are working with you see Jaturk's father in the left, and then you see Shadik's father in the middle. So they're all aware of the fact that the Ferract Gundam suit is a Gundam, and they're like, we need to figure out what Delling is. Shadik's father specifically says, we need to figure out what the Delling is up to, because he is the head of the Bender group, so he in a way is the most powerful in the hierarchy. And thus Shadik's father wants Pale Technologies to work with him in order to possibly bring Delling down, but it seems more that they want to reveal what he is up to. And he says this is an opportunity we'll never see again. So they're trying to take advantage of the opportunity that is approaching them. We get the opening. So actually, an important thing about the opening is that they actually revealed 2 Gundam suits that haven't been revealed before. It's right around here. So not this part. So these 2. So I heard that these 2 are 2 new mobile suit Gundam kits that have been released. It's like one is called the Thorn and the Earth, I think. Not sure exactly about their names, but this is a new reveal in the opening and pretty much hints on upcoming mobile suits in the show. And next we see pretty much Suletta and Miorine pretty much taking some time in Miorine's house in order to take care of her tomato plants. You see that there's a lot of watering cans, there's like fertilizer and the like. And this part's rather important because it reinforces that Elon is still gone. If you remember from last episode, he's insane, right? So he's dead. Pretty much confirmed dead. And obviously because of that, he is not able to meet up with Suletta. So now, so you can see that these both are in the dark. They don't know what happened to him. It's pretty much a top secret thing. So Suletta's worried, is like, why didn't he come meet with me? Even though we promised to meet up, it was like her quote unquote reward the duel, and it ends up, not coming to fruition. And then it also reinforces about what Miorine cares about a lot. She seems to she said that she never had to worry about someone else, and all she wants to do is go escape the Astasia College of Technology and also go to Earth. We still don't know exactly why she wants to go to Earth and get out, but it could be that the college is considered to be like some sort of prison that her father uses to sort of lock her in, or that there's something on Earth that she wants to achieve that she's not able to in the college. So we'll probably figure that out later on. And then we get the next part, which pretty much involves Suletta getting an invitation to something called Incubation event, or Incubation Party. An Incubation Party is a really interesting way of describing this party, because when you think of incubating, I usually think of it as like, we know when with chicken eggs, right? Chickens incubate eggs in order to keep them warm so that they can grow up and everything, which in a way makes sense in this analogy because Miorine explains it as that let's see here. It's like a social party for people among the group companies. And only people from 3 branches will go. I'll explain why Incubation Party is important later to explain it. And then Suletta is like, oh, if only people from the main 3 branches of the biggest families are going, then Suletta could possibly meet with Elon because he is part of the Pale group. So it's a good opportunity for all of them to sort of coincide in one place. And then we get the title of Shall We Gundam, which seems to be a reference to Shall We Dance of another series. I don't know which one, but it does seem to be another reference. And then you see that these 2, Nika and this guy, are pretty much tagging along with Miorine and Soletta. And this is also the 15th incubation party, which means that it is the 15th annual, as it's like approximated as the 15th annual incubation party, meaning that this is the 15th event, and it's hosted every year for the past 15 years. That is a little important later on. And then also you see this purple Gundam on the bottom right. That is the Yoasobi Gundam. It's like a super limited edition. And Yoasobi did the opening song of this show. And you see that Miorine is dressed here in like a purple. It's a really nice, very elegant dress that suits her. She has the white flower. She's wearing the purple dress that really accents her white hair. It's a very stylish look, but also very chic as well. While you can see the Soletta here is more wearing clothing that benefits her as a holder a little bit. You see she has this red, very strong red dress that matches her hair. And also she's wearing a crown as well that's kind of like a tiara. Kind of shows that she's not a royal, she's a normal person, right? But maybe it's sort of to represent that she has a holder status, so she is instead looks more like a princess compared to Miorine, which more looks like an elegant lady. It's kind of funny also they mentioned the bust size because Miorine is a lot more flatter than Soletta is, so ends up that Miorine's dress is tight on her. It's a funny little gag right there. Then Miorine is encouraging by telling her just to stand up straight, because if you like crouch and everything, it shows you're not confident. And at these kind of parties, you have to show that you're at your best, because a lot of people around you will be judging you. And also another glimpse of the Yoasobi Gundam. And then here's where Miorine explains what Incubation Party is. It's an event that promotes new business startups. So it's kind of like Shark Tank in a way, where pretty much a lot of possible investors, a lot of company startup ideas are pretty much shown off to see, hey, if this startup is a good idea, then we'll invest our money in it. We may get a return on it. And startups are like, what do you call it? It's like the beginning of a company, pretty much. It's like a new company idea. So anyone who wants to start within the group, so there's focus on specifically in the Bennett group, looks like. Announce their plans here to sell investment. So pretty much they want to get money, because no business can run without money, and all businesses run in order to create profit. Anything that's not profitable doesn't make any money, and all investors want to get a return on investment, if you get what I mean. So if they reach the target amount, then a new business is born. So pretty much they're all trying to get money. Rather than taking loans, they want direct income from investors, which makes sense. Not everyone wants to work with a bank. But and since Miorine is pretty much very savvy in business management, she knows that most of these businesses will not get any money because they're considered too old-fashioned, meaning that a lot of investors aren't interested. And she mentions it right here. No one will buy into it. And see, you need a certain amount of investment status to hit before it just falls through. It looks like the minimum you need to get invested is 75% of the initial investment value. And then we get introduced to the real Elon, who is backed by the Pale Group ladies. He's like, why do I have to clean up? Because, the previous Elon who died, it pretty much left a hole in, I guess, Soletta's heart, I guess. So he has to sort of make up for the previous Elon's absence. And they also mention how he doesn't want to do it. He very much sounds like a very rich, not really spoiled person, but he sounds like an heir to a company. And they say the next test subject isn't ready yet. So the previous Elon we knew the entire time before he died was test subject 4, and 5 isn't ready yet. You also notice that the main distinguish between the Elon test subjects is that they do take on the original Elon's face. They borrow a face. It's unclear whether they also adjust the vocal cords in order to make the test subjects sound like the original Elon. It's a bit unclear whether that is actually true, but it's only a reason why it makes sense where all the test subjects sound the same, or they specifically pick subjects who sound very similar to the original Elon, so they don't have to adjust the vocal cords. And then they use the real him because there's no one ready who could take Elon's place. And he's like, why? Let's see. Everyone's staring at her, like before. And then you see Shadiq is here. And he's like, oh, I want some advice from you. You can tell that he's very used to these types of gatherings, same as Miorine. It looks like he also won some sort of competition, showing that he's rather proficient and doesn't need Miorine's advice, even though she's very skilled at business management. And then Solita asks if they're friends, and you can't get rid of it. It's not like that. So it shows that Shadiq says that we used to see each other at a lot of these events, meaning that they pretty much have, if you referring back to the 15th annual Incubation Party that this is, they've seen each other probably across those 15 years that this existed. So in a way, they are considered childhood friends, that they are acquainted with each other because they're both members of the Bennerick group, and Shadiq is obviously part of a main family. And Miorine is Delling's daughter. So they have plenty of opportunities to meet each other at these formal events outside of school. Like, she gets along with him, but she isn't like the most friendly. Also, an important thing here is that, maybe is because of Solita that Miorine has changed to be a more welcoming and helpful person. That's why he refers to Solita as having magic, because she's considered to be a witch. Also, one more thing as well. You definitely changed, but here he says too bad. It's in a way, it's hard to refer what exactly he's referring to here, whether it's too late that Miorine has decided to change for Solita, or that it is something that will only end in a downfall. So kind of some mysterious words here. And then you see Miorine's mom, Solita's mom meet with Miorine. And then, so it looks like she finished work. And looks like she very proud of her daughter. And also something important as well is that Solita's mom introduces herself as Prospera Mercury. Prospera is from her being known as Lady Prospera. She took on the name. And then Mercury is from Mercury, obviously the planet. So that makes sense. Then these two met each other when Miorine was trying to save Arrow from being destroyed in the duel from one of the previous episodes. And then they shake hands here. And then you also see just in this moment where Solita's going, oh, you met Miorine before, and then Prospera changes the subject real quick and says, oh, I'm thirsty, get me a drink. It's pretty much a very typical diversion. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get rid of you for a bit so I can do something. And you can see that she has a very strong grip on Miorine's hand. So Solita grabs a drink. And then you can see that Prospera is pretty much keeping her in line. And she's asking her a lot of questions. Like, has it always been that way between you and your father? Referring to that Miorine has been in a conflict with her father for quite some time. So she's asking about that. It's like, why do you not get along with him? And also saying that, oh, if we're going to get married, we're going to be relatives. So it's kind of like being distant relative, in-law, in a way. And then also talking about her father being responsible for repressing the Vanidus incident 21 years ago. This statement confirms that the events in the prologue, which is the Vanidus incident, because it involved the Vanidus Institute, well, it took place 21 years ago, and Soletta is very much still 16 or 17, so there's still that 4-year gap that is pretty much unknown. It also means that Soletta's mom is 21 years older than the prologue episode. He was known as a hero and banned Gundams. And also, this is also an interesting line here too, where Miorine talks about our generation knows nothing of Gundams. In a previous interview by, I believe, the writer or producer of the show, he mentioned that many modern day anime fans do not really know about Gundam at all, especially since many of them tend to be on the older side, and a lot of them don't really strike common themes that a lot of young people tend to resonate with, as they focus a lot on war and conflict and politics, and young people aren't as interested, and thus this statement reflects that original like idea that had to be kept in mind in order to cater Witch of Mercury to a more modern and contemporary audience. You're hard to please. And also Miorine talks about, oh, my father doesn't really consult with me or anything, even though I'm his daughter. Oh yeah, this is kind of important. It also refers to, oh, isn't he just being unreasonable? And you see two important images here that flashback to Miorine's past. See, someone here is pretty much in a funeral casket and they're dead. You can see that they are surrounded by flowers. It is easy something that you can see from the fingernails that the person is a woman, because her fingernails are a lot thinner and slender, and also the nails reflect that. It can be assumed that this person's either a very important like sibling to Miorine, but more likely it's actually her mom who has died. And you see Miorine as a child in front of this funeral casket in some sort of really gothic, looks like a cathedral. And because of these big echoing hallways, and you could assume that the person in that light is her father, sort of moving away from the dead body of his wife, or the body itself, and Miorine herself. She says, oh, I don't like my father no matter what. And then Prospera reminds Miorine that, like, you see that the stage becomes darker, even though it's pretty much just framed by them doing a presentation in the background. It shows that Prospera knows a lot more about Miorine than she realizes. She sort of, in this moment, she conveys that because of her father's influence, is that she can live with such wealth and such prosperity. She pretty much lives a life that most students don't have. She can wear expensive clothes, she can wear expensive jewelry, she can wear expensive items. It's all because of her father. Even though she may hate her father because of her abandoning herself and her mother, and also ignoring a lot of what she wants and not really approving of anything she does, he still cares for her through all these expensive bought things. And because she still has to rely on him, even if she doesn't like him. Yeah, so Prospera pretty much sees it as a form of irony. So, oh, you may have all this expensive, but you still are rebelling against your father, even though he gave you everything, kind of thing. Which makes sense. And important here is that Prospera also tells her to throw away her pride, because a lot of what, in a way, Miorine's greatest strength in her downfall is her pride. She very much feels very confident in what she does, and because of her accomplishments and what she has that pride. But sometimes if that pride gets in the way, it can only lead to something far worse. Oh yeah, and you can see that Lady Prospera is really, really sus here. She looks incredibly scary here, with that zoom in of the face, and sort of like as if she's like looking real into Miorine. It's getting real close to a point that it's really intimidating. Then Soleta gets covered in soda or some sort of drink. And then you see the real Elon helping Soleta out, posing as the former Elon. And you see that Shadiq's father has something up his sleeve, which we'll see soon. And you see Nika pretty much trying to figure out what food she wants to get. Then Shadiq comes over here. This is a rather important scene. She's like, oh, thank you so much. And he's like, oh, you're very welcome. In fact, I'm the one who owes you this thanks, Nika Nanura. You can see that she has this really shocked face here. And she's like, not at all. You can see that this is extremely important because it shows that Nika somehow has some sort of very strong involvement with Shadiq. Whether it could possibly be that when what is assumed is why this is the case is that when Nika had to create the wing thrusters for the Ariel because the Ariel wasn't prepared for space battles, they didn't have the money at the time. That was reinforced in the previous episode. But she somehow was able to quickly make the wings properly enough that the other people, Earthians, were like, oh, you did such a good job. And she's like, I didn't really do anything. She is, in a way, I don't know if she's betraying the Earthians here, but more that she is putting herself in a position where she has to be indebted to Shadiq. And respectfully, Shadiq also relies on her. So because Nika made the Ariel's thrusters, however way they did it, even if using like a hodgepodge of parts, right? Shadiq probably got the information out of it. He probably used some sort of tracker in those thrusters in order to be able to test whether the Ariel is a Gundam. In a way, it's sort of betraying Soleta. It's betraying the whole Earthian house, including Soleta and the Ariel. Even though she loves Gundams, loves the technology, she still had to, in a way, quietly betray or work behind the scenes in order to support the Earthian house. And also get what she wants, and then Shadiq gets what he wants. She wants to work with the parts and support her house financially, while Shadiq probably provides the money and also gains the information taken from those thrusters to bring the Ariel's downfall here. And he's like, what the heck? So yeah, it seems to be a pretty secret thing. And then Soleta and Elon talk pretty much about how Elon is away. He's pretty much the representative of the Pale House, and he has to take a leave of absence from school kind of thing. So he's trying to cover up for what the previous didn't do. You can see he has this smirk, which shows that obviously he's not the real one because the previous Elon pretty much had all his emotions removed from him. He cannot be considered an ice prince. And she is going to join him on the stage. And pretty much the Pale group then does the presentation, showing off both the real Elon and Soleta. So they go up. And especially since Soleta is a current holder, she says that she wants to do well in school. And then here you see all these faces in the background. You can see it's kind of really scary, right? It's like this ginormous face in the background, like and they're talking to you. It feels more like interrogation. Does often require complex skills. So they're interrogating her about her Gundam, and they're like, "Why are you like special?" And then Soleta pretty much rectifies that, we've been together. She's family. And then here's the next part. So from Elon says that he felt a strange sensation in the recent duel. And then Elon mentions that strange response, which was also picked up by the technology that Shadiq implanted in the thrusters for whatever. It pretty much was able to detect all this information that wouldn't have otherwise been a thing. So in a way, all these parts are all interconnected somehow. Almost as if your machine and mine have been entangled. Didn't you also feel it? So this is pretty much, I don't know if they call this like permanent link resonance or whatever, But it's also very well known. It's like a new type resonance. Pretty much all Gundams can resonate with each other. And you can see here she remembers that, oh, when the Ariel activated its special abilities using the permit link, it was able to temporarily resonate with Elon's Pharact because they're both Gundam machines. They're both Gundams. It's because of that. And then you see here is where it pretty much becomes, rather than becoming an interrogation, it becomes a witch trial. And then you can see that has that red spotlight, in which condemning her, we use a Gundam, and they're saying like, oh, we use a Gundam because a Pharact's a Gundam. And because it reacted with your Gundam, and you also admitted that it reacted with our Gundam, then respectively, your machine's also a Gundam. And then they also explain here it's mutual interference. And then she's like, my mom always told me it's not a Gundam, so it can't be a Gundam, because my mom told me so. And the Pale Group already was aware that they'll probably dispose of the respective technology, the Pharact, in order to go with the agreement that forbids all Gundam machines. And so it's like, oh, obviously can't because the Ariel is her sibling. You can see that this guy is very theatrical. It's like, oh, she never knew that her machine was a Gundam. Doesn't she have some mercy? And he's very much being very, he's definitely not the real Elon, you could tell. And then Silhouette's calling for her mom for help, but you can see that her mom is pretty much intercepted by Guel's younger brother. He's like, oh, why don't you reconsider the deal that you made with my father? It's unclear what the deal was, outside of providing additional technology. And then you see here is where Miorine helps save the day, and pretty much tries to create a company that uses the Ariel as the core. And then she establishes a connection using her phone, her notebook. And pretty much, I really like this diagram they use. It's really easy to understand. It's in English. So what she uses is that she uses the balance sheets of Pale Technologies. It reflects the real world where pretty much all major companies have to showcase all of their balance sheets in I forgot the word for it. It's pretty much all their financial statements. All has to be made public in order to show transparency in their decision making. Obviously, typical people won't really go into those balance sheets and financial statements, but a lot of other companies do in order to sort of gain an understanding of how these companies work, how good their financials are, that kind of thing. And here you see that she is trying to create a reason why to create a new company. So with Pharact dissolving their own company responsible for developing the Pharact, she estimated it's a loss of 120 billion. Estimated that this is yen. It could be USD too. Hard to say. A lot of money, regardless. So then she wants to invest 240 billion in creating a new company that uses both the Shinsei group, which is what her Silhouette's mom is part of, and then the old development unit for the Pharact. And she pretty much creates a company that is a lot like the Van Ness Institute, where it focuses on creating Gundam-like technology, but focuses more on the protection of life, because the Ariel does not harm Silhouette, respectively as pilots, so there must be some sort of technology that can be researched or to use Gundam technology without the previous drawbacks, which were a lot of the bioethical issues. So that is the foundation of our company. And she calls him Gundam, pretty much on the nose here. And he's like, why? And then she also mentioned here that if all the companies invest in it unanimously, there's no risk to anyone. This is a little unrealistic here, where all companies have to deal with some sort of risk. It's not really a question of whether you can gain risk or lose risk. But Yeah, it's a little sus in this way, because there's always risk, no matter what. You can't make risk like 0%. That just doesn't work. But I guess what's riskier here is that because they get to donate money or invest in money anonymously, it could mean that if anything bad happens to this Gundam Inc., they don't lose that much. So it's considered more low risk than risk-free completely. You see that no one's picking up. They're like, nah, this is not, it benefits no one, and her father enforces that. And then he also emphasized here, I have no further interest in indulging a child's pride, showing off that that is Miorine's greatest strength and flaw. So then Miorine then takes her final stand here. She throws away her high heels, removes her sleeves, showing that she wants to move quickly because you can't run in high heels. It's really painful. And then she goes back to what Prospera said, you must throw away her pride. And then father also mentions that you cannot, I'm not going to support a child's pride. So here she must throw it away in order to gain something. And by throwing away her pride, she then goes to her father and asks him to invest in her company. Want to invest in my company? And she's using her influence as the daughter of the president of the Mercury group in order to her advantage. Because by her father investing in her company, then the company gains credibility. She only worked before with just something clearly and purely theoretical. That, oh, maybe if these two companies combine or these development teams are combined together, it could create something, but it's not actually, there's no guarantee it'll work, pretty much. It's like, pretty much, and she also made it on the spot, so there's no, like, she had no time to provide evidence proving that these companies are going to work well together. And you can see that he is contemplating it. And she's like, oh no, he's not going to agree. And then he also says, you can't run away. The Gundam curse is heavier burden than you think. So here he acknowledges her bravery and also reinforces that the Gundam is a cursed form of technology. And he also invested that 0.3%. I think it's, no, 3% investment. So he put in the first chip, and then everyone else will put their chips in too. I see the investment just goes up and up and up, because they're like, oh, since the president of the Benner group, the head of this entire group is, putting the trust in his daughter into this company, we're going to put our trust in it too. There's like little risk. And then the business is then formed. So in a way, Miorine is able to save Soletta's Ariel temporarily because of the formation of the company. Soletta and also her mom can now gain some additional financial backing because of it, because of all these investors. It's a mutually beneficial thing. And then Sheik's father's like, oh, you accepted the Gundam technology back, which is, it's hard to know why he did it. People say that it could be because he wants to support his daughter. He has a soft spot for his daughter. Could be that he wants to use the company to chain his daughter down as something that she can't run away from. But yeah, it could be a lot of things, but he is at least putting some sort of financial investment in. You can see, oh, and then Soletta's mom's like, oh, things didn't turn out the way you wanted to. And you can see that Gula's younger brother is like really frustrated, same as his father. They create the company. Then Soletta's Prospera pretty much says, oh, I trust you to help support my daughter. And that they'll work together because she created the company. And then Shinsei is a big major part of that. And then Soletta's like, she's like, you said that Ariel isn't Gundam. And then Prospera's like, oh, nope, she actually is. And she's like, oh, nope, the truth finally came out now. And then you can see that she has this like really horrified face. It's sort of like all her dreams and all she knew is crashing together all down at once. So it's super understandable for her. It's like, why did you say it wasn't Gundam the entire time? It's pretty much does feel like a betrayal from her mother here. And then the next episode is called Their Choice. I think it's narrated by either Miorine or Nika Nanura. It's hard to see who it is, but yeah, we'll see the consequences of this, the creation of the company, and what will become of, I guess, in the next episode. It's gonna be like, if you could tell just so far from me reacting to this whole thing, it's just such an incredibly dense episode. Like, we had like previous battles, some setup and everything, but this is probably the most dense in terms of content, in terms of implication for the future. From Miorine creating a company that helps support the Shinsei and also dealing with the Ferrac development team, to pretty much Prospera sort of orchestrating the whole thing. Is like, oh, if I encourage Miorine to do this thing for me, then I will benefit out of it. She helped orchestrate this whole thing happening because of her words. And then everyone has a big investment. And also, Soletta obviously realizes that Arrow is actually a Gundam, which is her own shocking news. A lot of big revelations here. And we can only see what will come next. So yeah, hope you enjoyed me breaking this down for you. And hope you enjoyed it all. Thank you so much. And looking forward to the next episode. It will come out as usual on Sundays. This, me recording it now, is just an anomaly in itself. And yeah, it should be back to normal from now on. Alright, take care.